going on, guys? Now, this is something I didn't think I would touch base on because I did not have all the information that I thought I did. It kind of ruins the whole concept of even trying to watch this movie or this show, whatever it ends up being. I believe it's going to be a multi-part show. Also, to get it out of the way, haha, yes, I love this hat. I bought it a while back. And yeah, kiss me where I pee. It's never helped me get laid, but still makes me laugh every single time. But to go ahead and get to the knit and grit, basically the details that I found out recently while, going through TikTok. Avatar: Last Airbender, since it will be coming out pretty soon, on Netflix and whatnot, it's already becoming a problem. Now, to kind of preface it, the fact that to show that I am, in fact, a fan, I did bring these in here. This is what I bought years ago. I ran across them when I was in a Target. Probably almost 10 years ago, actually, because all three of them. They had them all for like $25 a piece back then, and I actually had a nice hefty check at the job I was working at the time. So yeah, I went and bought them because it was my favorite show, and I could actually sit down and watch them all, and I still have them. They're still, they've been definitely wore out, but I've kept them. And to make it easier, actually, as I got older, I bought them on Blu-ray because I never actually watched this. So that was my first time viewing Legend of Korra because I didn't have cable or nothing. So yeah, I rewatched them with this. And now, as we get to the future, I actually fully upgraded to watching them on Amazon, so it's a lot easier. Now, all that being said, this is the reason why I'm letting you know I am a fan, a huge fan, been a long time fan. Watched them numerous times. In fact, I got done watching it not too long ago, about a month ago. It's almost coming around to where I'll watch it again because it's so nostalgic and great. Now, these are the tidbits that I apparently missed out on completely. So I actually had some questions on what else are they going to change? Are they going to ruin Aang? Basically, some questions I had. How is, Sokka going to be able to have his revelations if they're taking out some of his character? I don't know what all they're going to take away, but apparently Aang is no longer going to want to go on these little mini adventures. Now, I only can see it from their perspective for one reason, and that's because it's supposed to save time and probably some production to kind of take away from that. But here's the thing. To me, now maybe this is not everybody, this show didn't really have too many fillers. Almost every character that has been, from the sidelines to the extra, to whatever little tidbits you want to talk about, they all end up in the end of the show. They all have something to do towards the end or in the middle when they're actually attacking the Fire Nation. But that's the thing. Everybody has, every character does get involved at some point or another. And that's the beginning. Like I said, Kyoshi Island has a big turnaround for Sokka. Well, if Aang's not going to be on his adventurous sprees where he's going to go across all these different things, he's not going to ride the koi fish. If he doesn't ride the koi fish, then we completely miss out on a whole section, which is also going to be Sokka's love interest. It ends up being a big major point in the end of the show. This is stuff I didn't know about. I don't know why I never came across it, but when I was looking it up, I didn't know that Sokka was going to be changed. And a little bit of Katara, but now more and more I'm looking into it, it looks like it's going to be worse than I thought. Now, I know I'm being a little overdramatic, but this is a show I've been waiting on for the last 4 or 5 years when they started announcing that they were going to retouch on a live action. Now, this is before Netflix started getting a little bit better with their live action adaptations and doing really well. And I have to say that it made me actually want to watch it. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I seen a few comments where they said, very informative, but I'll also watch it myself to kind of formulate my own opinion. I will say, please do. Definitely, look into everything, try to make your own opinion whether or not it looks like it's worthy of being watched. But I'm going to have to tell you right now, I don't recommend it at all. Well, maybe a little chance, but overall, it seems like it's just going to be absolute shit. They've taken out all the characteristics of each character that made them, defined. Here's the biggest part, and I took a little quick screenshot, but to let you know, this is just from Google. I literally looked up Avatar: The Last Airbender live action Aang character change, just so I would be able to get just the top search. The live-action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender would change Aang's motivation, giving him a clearer narrative drive from the start. This change has sparked concern among fans who believe it goes against Aang's original character arc and the importance of his ventures. I agree, 100%, that it's going to ruin it. I believe I touched it on my last video, but I can't quite remember exactly what I said, but I know that I was talking about his characteristics should not be changed because he's this lighthearted, goofy character. Well, now they're going to make him, I guess, stern. He's going to be focused. He's not going to, be this goofy kid. That's the biggest problem. Huge problem. Because if you don't know, he has the longest character arc in the whole series. Some of them have the longest it takes for them to start developing it, but like Zuko, for instance, he did not have much of a character arc between here to here, and then the second book is the third book, everything gets turned on its head. So with him, you do see the turmoil in him. So he's trying to change. Like the first one's him just being the evil guy. That's literally all he is. He's supposed to be the nemesis, and that's the whole point. The second one, you start seeing why, a lot more detail into why, and actually the battle he has conflicting in being a good person, a bad person. Towards the end of the second book, you also realize that he has a reason why he's battling this. It's because the whole series is based on spiritual connection. So he has a spiritual connection to the Fire Nation, but he also has one to the Avatar. The actual Avatar was his grandfather. So that being a thing, his grandfather was the Fire Lord, evil bastard, and his other one, or great-grandfather was this, and then come to find out his other great-grandfather on his mother's side was the Avatar. So he has a connection to both. That's good and evil at this point in time, because the Fire Nation has been evil for 100 years. His takes the longest. I hope they didn't take that out either, because in the third book, that's when it turns on its head. It's right at the end of the second book, and it's just spectacular. Because then he goes on this adventure to go try to find the Avatar, and even cooler is how they change the way fire works. So fire has always been rage and just an emotion, because everything has a different characteristic on how it's used. Like air is about fluidity and being smooth and always being able to redirect. Water has always been kind of mixed, because you have water, which is fluid, and then you had ice, which is supposed to be stern, almost like earthbending. And fire has always been a force. It's been explosive. It's been damaging on, contact. Well, you go into a little tidbit to show both of them, Aang and him, have to learn how to control it without losing control. And it's fantastic. He goes from an anger-induced teenager to trying to find one with beauty of fire. I know this sounds probably super stupid and lame, but this was really cool when I was a teenager. And even watching it today, it's still really cool to see that become, a key part of the story. And yet again, if it wasn't for Aang being playful and goofy, he does not have that turnaround to learn this from what would become his master in firebending, which was literally his nemesis from the first episode. These are things they cannot change. And I mean, they're going to probably leave the bare bones of the story there, which is, kind of okay, but it ruins the overall take. It changes your connection with these characters. And another thing, they said that they're going to try to make more connections with the OG audience, plus people that like Game of Thrones, which I think is stupid. This isn't Game of Thrones. It's not that. It's not going to be close to that. A lot of it isn't so much action scenes as it is storytelling. The adventures show character development. The adventures also show them building friendships that actually, pay off in the end. I know it sounds like I'm super, super irritated, because I am. It's a good show. There's a few shows that I do like, and I've bought numerous things about. Like Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta's my main go-to. Fullmetal Alchemist, I watch the hell out of it all the time. I reread it. And then touch up this, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a phenomenal, I say timeless classic now, that 1 in a million chance that you could get a show that you can watch when you're 50. Oh, little tidbit. In the first episode, him playing around, he rides these penguins. And when he rides the penguins, that's what leads him to the whole thing about the boat. The boat sends a signal flare. It allows the Fire Nation to know where he's at, or Prince Zuko to find out where he's at, to the detail exactly where he's at. And then when he gets to the town, it's all because he was being playful. That's what leads to this. These are little bits that actually are part of the story. The only thing I saw that makes any sense that they've changed, the one thing, is the timeline. Let's go ahead and talk about that. The timeline, if you didn't know, in the show was only a year. Now, in my head case, I say my head canon, this is just my way of looking at it. I figured that their world was not, 365 days. It made me think more that their world was probably 2 or 3 years worth of days long, because they never really specify. They only specify it's been a year. And the reason why I say that is because, it just made it a lot easier for me to watch the show. And that's going to sound dumb. But to them, because these actors will age, essentially to make sure they don't run into issues where they're supposed to play, a 15-year-old, but they're already 20. These could take around 5 years or more to make. And if they're 12 or 13 in the first episode, well, the last episode, they're going to be almost 20. And they're only supposed to be a year apart. So they're going to change it to like 3 or 4 years probably. Maybe even 5, but it's supposed to be a few years, so the timeline's going to be longer. I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as it, doesn't take away from the key points, which looks like they already did. But yeah, this is some stuff that just came up today that I was looking at. I didn't know. I guess I didn't look more into it. Even worse, there's probably going to be more that's going to come out that's going to ruin this, because, like I said, it's going to be releasing soon. We literally have just around 15, 17 days, and it will be releasing. I probably will go ahead and get ready to pay for it, because I guess that day I'll pay for it and I'll watch it that weekend. or rather that weekend I'll pay for it, watch it, and then go ahead and cut it off. And I don't know, come back. We'll see where we're at, because apparently my recording software cannot record video on my computer. I don't know why. It shuts off into a black screen. I guess because it's detecting it's recording something. I don't know why. I don't know how to fix that. I'll have to look into it. But as of right now, if you want to see what comes of it, if you want to, instead of wasting your time watching it and you want to know what I think of it, I would definitely tell you. But also leave some comments below what you think about all these changes. So yeah, that's about all I got to say. Y'all have a good one.